Every family has that one birth story that stands apart. The story that everyone tells at family gatherings. The story that gets retold at baby showers and family reunions. The story that has enough drama, enough uniqueness, enough wonder to be remembered forever. For Jeremy and Audrey Roloff, that story belongs to their third child. His name is Radley Knight Roloff. He was born on November 8, 2021 at 6:32 in the morning. He weighed 9.1 pounds. He measured 21.5 inches long, and he was born in caul, which means, in medical terms, that he came out of his mother's body while still fully inside an intact amniotic sac. The membrane that had held him throughout the pregnancy did not break during labor. The waters never gushed. There was no moment of the sac rupturing. Radley simply emerged, still enclosed in the fluid-filled bubble that had been his home for 9 months. According to the medical literature, in-caul births happen in less than 1 in every 80,000 births. It is, statistically, one of the rarest ways a baby can enter the world. And it happened to a Roloff. On a Monday morning in November of 2021, in a birthing center in Oregon, with Audrey pushing and Jeremy holding her hand and midwives watching in gentle amazement, one of the rarest kinds of births in the world happened to one of the most watched reality television families in the world. Tonight on LPBW Update, we are walking through the full story of Radley Knight Roloff, the name that carried meaning, the birth that carried wonder, the 4 years that have followed, and what fans should know about the 5th Roloff grandchild who arrived, quite literally, inside a bubble of amniotic fluid. Because Radley's story is unique, and it deserves to be told properly. Let us start with the name, Radley Knight Roloff. Jeremy and Audrey have explained the meaning of the name on Instagram and in interviews. The first name, Radley, is of English origin. According to Audrey, it means red meadow or meadow of reeds, which to her and Jeremy represented an image of peace and natural beauty. The word itself has an ancient feel. It evokes images of rural England, rolling hills, and quiet rural landscapes. It fits the Roloff family aesthetic, which has always been rooted in rural Oregon farmland. The couple also loved that the name Radley shortened easily to Rad, which they thought was, in Audrey's word, really rad. That kind of playful naming where the shortened form becomes a fun nickname is very much on brand for Jeremy and Audrey. Their children's names, considered as a group, are all a bit unconventional, but all thoughtful. Ember, Bode, Radley. They have that particular sound of names chosen by parents who wanted their children to have distinctive identities without being trapped by trendy naming conventions. The middle name, Knight, honors Amy Roloff's maiden name. Amy was Amy Knight before she became Amy Roloff. By giving Radley the middle name Knight, Audrey and Jeremy were carrying forward Amy's family heritage into the next generation. That is a meaningful gesture. It is the kind of gesture that families make when they want to honor the women whose names typically get lost when women take their husbands' surnames. Audrey has been intentional throughout her children's naming choices to honor both sides of the family. Bode honors Audrey's maiden name Body. Radley honors Amy's maiden name Knight. Ember and Mirabella have their own significant meanings. Every name in the Jeremy and Audrey Roloff family has a story, and Radley's, with its dual meaning of English pastoral peace and grandmother's family heritage, is one of the loveliest. The pregnancy that brought Radley into the world came fast on the heels of Bodie's birth. Bodie had been born in January of 2020. Radley was born in November of 2021, less than 2 years later. Audrey and Jeremy had been open about their desire to build a large family. They wanted to keep having children while they were young. They wanted their children close in age, and they were, by every visible measure, on the exact trajectory they had planned. The pregnancy with Radley was, in Audrey's telling, relatively smooth. She had experienced fast labor with both Ember and Bodie, and she had experienced postpartum hemorrhaging that had been concerning. Both of those histories informed the plan for Radley's birth. Audrey and her medical team spent significant time before the delivery discussing exactly what would happen and how they would handle any complications. For the first time, Audrey chose to give birth at a birthing center rather than at a hospital. A birthing center offers a middle ground between a hospital birth and a home birth. It has medical support available if needed, but it is designed to feel more like a peaceful, intentional space than a clinical environment. Audrey wanted the peaceful setting. She wanted the intimate atmosphere. She wanted the sense of control over the birth experience. And her medical team had worked with her to make sure the plan would keep her and the baby safe while also honoring her preferences. Radley arrived 5 days after his due date. His scheduled arrival date had been November 5th, but he stayed put. On the evening of November 7th, when Audrey's contractions started, she and Jeremy were having dinner at Audrey's parents' house. They left Ember and Bodhi there for the night, planning to have Audrey's parents take care of the older children while Audrey and Jeremy went to the birthing center. Contractions intensified through the night. Audrey has described the labor as different from her previous two. She experienced most of her contraction pain in her back, which is called back labor. She kept waiting for signs that the baby was coming down through the birth canal, but she could not feel him coming the way she had felt Ember and Bodhi. There was intense pressure. There was pain. There was mental difficulty because she felt like she was pushing without progress. It was, in her own words, harder mentally because she felt like she was pushing and not getting anywhere. Right before Radley came out, Audrey begged her midwife to break her water. The midwife responded, according to Audrey, so kindly and peacefully. She said, "You know, in some cultures, it is good luck for baby to be born in the sack." In hindsight, Audrey said, she was grateful the midwife did not intervene. Instead, she let things happen naturally. And at 6:32 in the morning of November 8th, 2021, Radley Knight Roloff was born, still inside his amniotic sac, fully enclosed in the membrane that had been his home. In caul. The medical term for this kind of birth is in caul birth, or sometimes veiled birth. It happens when the amniotic sac does not rupture during labor and the baby is delivered still inside the sac. It is not something the mother can control. It is not something the medical team plans for. It simply happens, or does not happen, based on the specific physiology of the birth. The statistical rarity is significant. Less than 1 in 80,000 births result in an in-caul delivery. That means that if a birthing center delivered even 100 babies per year, they would expect to see an in-caul birth roughly once every 800 years. It is that rare. And Audrey had one. Her third pregnancy, her first at a birthing center, resulted in one of the rarest kinds of births that human medicine encounters. Fans of Jeremy and Audrey followed along in amazement when Audrey shared the story on Instagram in early 2022. The photos and videos captured the wonder of the moment. Audrey described the entire experience as harmonious. She said that all the uncontrollable puzzle pieces seemed to come together. Nothing felt rushed or chaotic. The golden hour after birth was pure joy. So much harmony, she said. Radley Knight, she wrote, "You continue to bring harmony to our home. We love you so much, Radman." There is symbolism in in-caul births that has been recognized across many cultures for centuries. In Roman times, being born inside an intact caul was considered a sign of good luck. In Slavic traditions, children born in caul were often considered spiritually gifted. In some Christian traditions, the caul was preserved as a sign of God's protection over the child. Audrey, who was a devout Christian, embraced this symbolism. She wrote that she had been praying for harmony over the birth. She said the word harmony had been on her heart for months, and when Radley arrived, still inside his sac, delivered peacefully into a peaceful birthing room, she felt that God had answered her prayer in a specific and unmistakable way. The harmony had been visible. The prayer had been answered in a way that even skeptics would have to acknowledge was unusual. Whether you attribute Radley's in-caul birth to statistical chance, to physiological particularity, to divine providence, or to some combination of all three, the story remains striking. It is not the kind of story most families get to tell about their children. It is one of the rarest birth stories in modern American reality television history. The first months of Radley's life were, by every account, relatively quiet. He was, in Audrey's descriptions, a peaceful baby. He fit his name. He fit the harmony of his birth. He nursed well. He slept reasonably well. He grew. He gained weight. He met his developmental milestones on schedule. Audrey shared occasional updates on Instagram, but she has always been more restrained about her younger children than about Ember, whom she had documented more extensively when Ember was that age. That evolution, from documenting a first child intensively to documenting subsequent children more sparingly, is common among parents of multiple children. There is simply less time to document, and there is often a more considered approach to how much of a child's early life to share publicly. Radley benefited from that evolution. He got a more private infancy than Ember had gotten. He got to just be a baby, without the constant attention of a growing Instagram audience watching his every milestone. By the time Radley was 1 year old, in November of 2022, he had grown into a happy toddler. He was walking, he was starting to talk, he was interacting with his older siblings, Ember and Bodhi, with the kind of adoration that only a youngest child can bring to bigger siblings. Ember and Bodhi, in turn, had become his little protectors. Ember, in particular, took on a big sister role that has continued throughout Radley's childhood. She reads to him, she plays with him, she looks out for him. That kind of sibling dynamic is one of the most joyful things Jeremy and Audrey have documented on Instagram over the years. For Radley's second birthday, in November of 2023, Audrey shared a heartfelt Instagram tribute. She wrote about her admiration for her son. She said, "We love your excitement about all things dirt and tractors, your love for rides, and your eagerness to keep up with your bro and sis." That single sentence tells you almost everything about Radley's personality at age 2. He loved dirt. He loved tractors. He loved being outside. He loved rides of all kinds. And he was, in the classic pattern of youngest siblings, always trying to keep up with his older brother and sister. That eagerness to keep up is a common personality trait of youngest children, and it has clearly shaped Radley's development. He learned things faster than his siblings might have, because he had them modeling everything for him. He was more socially aware because he grew up in a busier household with more people to observe. He was, in every sense, the classic youngest of 3, which he would remain until Mirabella's birth in May of 2024 made him a middle child. Speaking of Mirabella, in November of 2023, when Jeremy and Audrey announced they were expecting their 4th child, they did it with a video posted to Instagram that has become one of the most beloved family moments in the Roloff Instagram archive. The video featured the whole family standing in a line. Audrey whispered the news of the pregnancy into Jeremy's ear. Jeremy, delighted, threw his hands in the air and spun Audrey around. He then whispered the news to Ember. Ember whispered it to Bode. Bode whispered it to Radley. And Radley, then just 2 years old, began babbling the phrase "Big Brother" over and over. His parents added a caption over the video making clear what he was saying. Radley's excited, repeated announcement that he was going to be a big brother in his tiny 2-year-old voice was one of the sweetest moments the Roloff family had ever shared. It also made Radley, at age 2, the ambassador of the pregnancy announcement. His delight was the delight the whole family wanted to communicate. His excitement was contagious. His words, "Big Brother," spread through the entire fan base like a joyful little viral moment. When Mirabella was born on May 23, 2024, Radley officially became a big brother. He was 2.5 years old. He had gone from being the youngest of 3 to being the youngest boy, but not the youngest child. That transition is significant for any child. Radley handled it well. He loved his baby sister immediately. He continued to keep up with his older siblings. He continued to be Radley, just now with a new role in the family constellation. As of this recording in 2026, Radley is 4 years old. He is in preschool. He is thriving. He continues to love tractors, dirt, farm activities, and outdoor play. He is one of the 8 Roloff grandchildren pictured together in the viral Thanksgiving 2024 photo Audrey shared. He was at the Christmas 2025 family reunion that Isabel Roloff documented. He continues to grow into his personality, which is unmistakably his own. He is not Ember. He is not Bode. He is not Mirabella. He is Radley. He is the Harmony child. He is the one born in Caul. He is the one his parents named after both a peaceful English meadow and his grandmother Amy's maiden name. He is unique, and he is, by every measure, thriving in the life his parents have built for him. What is Radley's future going to look like? Nobody knows, of course, but the trajectory is positive. He has parents who have built a stable and prosperous life. He has 3 siblings to grow up with. He has extended family throughout Oregon, including grandparents Matt and Amy Roloff, both of whom clearly adore him. He has the story of his own birth, which will be told to him someday, and which he will presumably tell to his own children if he has them. He has a heritage of Christian faith, strong family values, and intentional parenting. He has, in every sense, been set up for a good life. What he does with that life is entirely his story to write. For fans of the Roloff family, Radley represents something specific in the extended family narrative. He is the Harmony child. He is the miracle baby. He is the one whose birth was, statistically speaking, one of the rarest medical events that any of the 8 Roloff grandchildren experienced. He is a reminder that even in the most documented reality television family, some things are still profoundly mysterious. Even in the most photographed lives, some moments are still touched by wonder. Radley Knight Roloff was born inside a bubble of amniotic fluid on a Monday morning in November at a birthing center in Oregon. And in his birth, and in the harmony his parents felt in that moment, there was something almost sacred, something that transcended the ordinary categories of celebrity reality television and touched on the deeper mysteries of birth, life, and human beginnings. That is not a small legacy for a 4-year-old to carry. But Radley does not have to carry it. He just gets to be Radley, and that, in the end, is more than enough. So I want to know what you think. Have you ever heard of an in-caul birth, or did any of your children come into the world through unusual circumstances? Do you love the meaning behind the name Radley Knight, honoring both a peaceful English meadow and Grandma Amy Roloff's maiden name? And do you think Radley will grow up as a farmer like his uncle Jacob and his grandfather Matt? Or do you think his interests will take him in different directions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to LPBW Update, and ring the bell so you do not miss our weekly Roloff family stories. We are committed to bringing you the truth, the timeline, and the heart of every member of this remarkable family. I will see you on the next one.